Okay, are we live? Yeah. Hey guys, can you hear us? Can you see us? Let us know in the comments.
All right, we're live.
Oh, great. Cool. Okay.
What's up, Hexagons?
We're there. Yes, we're live. Are we? I think so. Yeah? All right, cool. So this is the first episode of Building Bridges. And this show kind of started because RG and Kinetics came to talk to me and said, hey, we want you to do the show. You're really great at establishing connections with other communities and like bridging out. And actually, originally they said they wanted me to do a show that was all about women in crypto. And I was like, you know, like, not that I have anything against women in crypto, because of course I don't. I am a woman in crypto, but the whole issue is this kind of really divisive subject. Like, you're either, I'm curious about where you stand, Crypty Girl.
I don't really give much thought to it. Like, it doesn't affect me. I don't like to talk about it because it's just not a big deal to me. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. Your experience is what you make of it, I guess. So it's all in your thought. It's all mindset.
Yep, I'm of the same. I kind of feel the same. I kind of, I think that there are some times when there are clear advantages and clear disadvantages to being a person of either gender, and that you can like either worry about it or not.
Sure.
Right? Sure, yeah, like there are definitely times when being a woman in crypto has, to my advantage and to yours. And, if you fully exploit your advantages, then you can't get too upset about the disadvantages that accompany them. Mm-hmm. That's kind of how I think of it. All right. So the show was about, I kind of said, how about we make the show about like establishing relationships with other communities? And they're like, oh, that's something that you're really good at. That's something that women in general are really good at. And we were kind of throwing around ideas for who the first guest should be. And they said that they really, really felt strongly that the first guest should be you. So I reached out to you and you said yes. And I was really glad to have you on.
I love this show, this new part of Discourse Syndicate. Bridging communities is so essential in crypto growth and as a whole cryptocurrency. But thanks for having me on. I'm honored to be your first guest.
Yeah, really appreciate it. So I actually was curious about how your experience has been kind of like integrating back into other crypto communities after you publicly supported Hex.
Oh, right. Well, it wasn't that bad, which surprised me because I know like Hex has been controversial just to talk about publicly or as a micro influencer. But it's, I guess that testimonial video after Ski Cat generously gifted me 3 million Hex. I made that short video just telling everyone my experience and posted it on Twitter. And I was like super teary-eyed and emotional in that video. But I think that because I posted that video, everyone could see like how real and how genuine my experience was, and how I truly do believe that Hex is a good thing and that Hexicans are good people. And I love Hex, but just that, I think that experience everyone got to see and like share my sentiment. So they probably reacted better than if I didn't post that. Because if I didn't share that testimony, I think a lot of people wouldn't have known, like, I don't know what I went through, I guess. But I think a lot of people could relate to me more and just not judge me on the outside for getting into Hex. I guess it just touched people on a more emotional level, and it was received well. And a lot of people actually started looking at Hex because I think people respect what I look at. And so a lot of people were looking at Hex too. And I saw people from other communities started buying Hex and staking it, which was really cool.
Yeah, I would say that my experience hasn't been as negative as a lot of people, because I think that I've been pretty vocal about like, hey, I think it's cool because time deposits are cool. Like, because how, like, I mean, there are so many applications, especially with the way that they can be automated on the blockchain. Like, this isn't just something that I decided to promote because, you know, it was given to me, or because, you know, I was a paid shill or something. I was like, I decided to promote it because I think that time deposits are cool, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I have a 9-year-old daughter, and like I can set money aside for her future specifically to release to her at uncertain dates and times. And that's a really interesting concept. And then there are other, you know, applications that I've realized since getting into it. It just seems like I think about time deposits a lot.
It's nice. It's nice having that option, a time deposit for cryptocurrency. It's revolutionary.
I agree. I totally agree.
I'm curious what your story is getting into Hex.
Sure. Okay. So before I got into Hex, I was working as a journalist in cryptocurrency, and I was studying, and so I was working for a couple of different news outlets, kind of freelancing, but kind of on my own project, just built on top of those, was because I had dropped out of a PhD program in religious studies a few years before I got into crypto.
In religious studies?
Yep.
Oh wow.
Yep. So I was living in Iran studying rogue implementations of vigilante justice for crimes of apostasy.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and so when I was coming back to the U.S., some of the people told me, "Hey, when you go back, make sure that you tell everyone that you can that Iranian people aren't bad. Iranian government is," and like that just really like had a major, like it changed everything about my outlook, and essentially changed the way that I wanted to write my PhD, which got me into huge fights with my dissertation board, and led to me dropping out. So yeah. Wow. So anyway, I wasn't really doing that. I was doing retail arbitrage when I found cryptocurrency. And then when I saw crypto, I saw like the same kind of world issues that I saw when I was living abroad and studying sociology, you know, religious studies. And I really wanted to look at it, but I also needed a job that could pay me. So I found journalism work. And then I kind of piggybacked my own questions on top of that so that I could like ask people, you know, access to leaders and stuff like that. And so
kind of learn at the same time.
Huh?
Learn at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was doing the thing that they wanted me to do and just kind of doing my own thing on the side. And then so then for a while I was not working for an outlet at all. I was just kind of trying to do just my own thing, and it wasn't really working out because I just didn't have enough to start where I was. So then I was just studying tribalism, and RG came and found me and was like, "Hey, you got to take a look at Hex." And I was like, "Well, I'm a journalist. I'm allowed to come on your show. You know, who can get mad? You're supposed to explore things from multiple perspectives." So I did. I came on Discourse and I talked to the guys, and then I came on again and again and again. And it wasn't very long before I was like, "Yeah, this like vitriol is completely unwarranted," you know, like it really just like every criticism that people came up with just didn't hold up. And it took me so long. Actually, this is something that I wrote down for us to talk about. It actually took me a really long time to accept that maybe I know more about crypto than a lot of the people who, you know, think that they know more. And, you know, are like, you know, my friends. And like, it took me a really long time to learn that sometimes I'm right. And like, you know, I have to learn to listen to myself, even when other people are saying that I shouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like ongoing, right? Like, is that something that you struggle with ever at all?
All the time. I always come from a perspective of like complete noob, and I kind of like treat myself like I don't know anything, but it's how I maximize my learning. So I'm always asking questions like on the Block Babes on the show I co-host, and I'm always thinking like, maybe this question will make me sound really stupid, but I need to know and I need to learn. And maybe someone else has that question too. So I go ahead and ask it to our guests and they'll explain it. Like, oh, wow, I just learned. That's really cool and interesting. And then later I'm like, yeah, I know, I didn't know about that. But a lot of people are like, I didn't know either. I kind of pretended. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I guess I'm on the same page with a lot of people.
Yeah, and I mean that's definitely, like, not to say there's so much that I don't know, right? Like so many things. But it's hard to learn to trust yourself. Like it's something that I'm still like, what, am I just delusional, or like did what you say not make any sense? Like,
Yeah, but I love that you weren't afraid as a journalist to go learn about all the controversy and learn about Hex and come back multiple times. That's very cool.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was not really easy. I lost friends,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Have you experienced that at all?
Not too much, because I always like to talk things out. If people start getting like abrasive or act weird, I come to them and be like, okay, what's wrong? And then I just use reason and logic, I guess. And with Hex, it was pretty easy to back up and refute like negative claims, false claims, and everything. So I just talked it out with people, and then everyone was pretty reasonable.
Nice. That's awesome. I'm really glad that was your experience. I feel like most of the people who will talk about it are, then they'll be like, okay, well, I don't care if you hold it, but I'm not ever going to buy it. And I'm like, cool, I'm never going to pressure you to buy it, but like, then there are some people who won't even hear it, who are just like closed to the idea and think that you must be
closed-minded. It's just, it doesn't make sense to be closed-minded, because cryptocurrency is about innovation. It's about innovation and decentralization and going forward, and just being closed-minded, or just like, I guess, becoming a maximalist to one thing. It's just like, I don't know. It's like there could always be something more innovative that comes along that's better for humanity. So like, why stick with a candle when you can have a light bulb?
Yeah, no, I totally. And I mean, maximalism is definitely like, did you ever, probably not, but I wrote an article all about specifically Bitcoin maximalism, but like trying to understand the sociology behind maximalism and kind of comparing it to a couple different life things. But, I do, we see maximalism in Hex. I wonder if you see it in some of the other communities that you're a part of.
Oh, absolutely. There's maximalism a little bit in each community, but I ultimately think that's a good thing. Even though I'm not a maximalist, I've realized that each community needs die-hard supporters that will always stick with that project, always stick with that cryptocurrency, because a lot of times they're the foundation, and they always bring people in and educate people about that specific cryptocurrency. So it's okay that it's okay that they're just going to stick with that one thing, because that's what they like, that's what they love, and they're good at bringing people in, and it provides strong support. So I'm not going to be a maximalist, but I do think that there's a place for that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I guess knowing that there are, what's the right word? It's been a while since I've used it. Sellers of buyers of last return, knowing that there's always people who will be buying more means that the coin will never go to zero. So some maximalism is probably a sign of a healthy cryptocurrency. You're right about that. Mm-hmm.
And it gives me good perspective too. Since this show is about bridging crypto communities, I get a very good perspective being in multiple crypto communities, because it's okay that like my friends in one community may not like another community, which isn't very often, but sometimes there's just like some like antagonistic feeling. But it just gives me perspective when I talk to those people, like how they feel about other cryptocurrencies and why there is maybe better. But it just like, it gives me a better vision, I guess, of the overall picture. And it actually helps me learn more and keep an open mind.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I feel like I'm part of multiple communities, and I've always kind of gone back and forth between them and facilitated conversations. That's like what I've been doing for a long time, and I think it's important. I think that maybe not everyone should do it, but that there definitely need to be people who do that, and I think you're doing great. So thank you.
Oh, thanks. Same to you.
Do you have any ideas for communities that like are maybe more open to outreach now than they would have been a few months ago?
Like ideas to bring communities together?
Yeah.
This is going to sound kind of funny, but the first thing that comes to mind is memes. It's amazing how well memes and GIFs unite or even subliminally project an idea. Because if you start making GIFs with like 2 different cryptocurrencies in the same GIF and you make a bunch of those and you just hammer them out, it starts people getting the idea that it's cool to have those 2 cryptocurrencies working together, to be friends, for those 2 communities to prop each other up and support each other. I found that actually works pretty well as like a first step. And then of course, doing live streams like this, bringing people from all around different communities together to meet each other and talk for the first time. And they can actually see, oh, that person's really cool. Maybe I should learn more about that cryptocurrency or give them a chance because I like the person. And yeah, we could be friends, things like that. And maybe in the future, doing planned videos. I don't know the exact idea here, but just doing YouTube videos deliberately with people from different communities. Maybe you could do a TikTok styled skit or something like that, but that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Those are great ideas. I really appreciate it. Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's great. Thank you. Yeah, I've got to start thinking about memes and GIFs and stuff. I've been kind of like trying to bring communities together, and like, what's been helping is the exchange, QuickSwap, because exchange doesn't, it's a decentralized exchange, so anybody can list there, and like there doesn't need to be any discussion. Like it's an exchange, they're going to list whatever tokens are profitable, right? Like they're going to put whatever people are going to provide liquidity for. So yeah, so I feel like that's been really helpful in this pursuit as well. And I'm really glad that just kind of presented itself.
That's true. That's true. I don't know who runs the QuickSwap Twitter social media, but whoever it was seemed pretty cool because they're like, we just listed Hex and we love it, and this is great.
That was me.
I was wondering.
There's a few people who work on, who work on the QuickSwap Twitter, but that was me.
Yes. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. That was so cool. Way to go. I love that. You get to put the good word out there from QuickSwap.
No, it was really like when I presented the idea of like getting Hex into the liquidity pools, it was really like the original response was like, absolutely not. And I waited I waited a couple weeks and brought it up again. And then I brought it up with a lot more data and reasoning behind it, like really well presented. And I was like, oh, okay. And so then we started conversations with the Hex community, and it was a really stressful experience, but really positive, and I'm so glad.
It paid off.
It did.
You worked for that one. Good job.
It did. Okay, so a couple of like really crypto-y questions for you. Today there was an exploit of an audited project, and have you looked into that much or heard much about it?
No, can you give me a rundown?
Really brief, because I only looked into it like an hour. I think it really the news just really started to come out an hour or so before we jumped on this stream. But so there was a project. Let me see if I can grab the name of it. It was something, I don't know.
A cryptocurrency that had been audited before, or it was the audit?
it was still in the audit. The audit was still in process. It's paid network. Paid, yeah. So I don't really know much about the project, but I do know that the exploit, they're saying that so it was reviewed, or the review was in process. It wasn't completely done, the audit. And they're saying that the exploit wasn't a flaw in the code. It was something to do with the inside, and that somehow they're going to roll back the chain. But that's all I really know about it. I was wondering if you did, but it's cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that kind of prompted me to tweet this morning. Like, it seems like bigger name influencers now aren't reviewing projects unless they have audits. Like, when did that start? Where did that come from?
I don't know much about that for influencers doing that, but that might be a good thing. It might protect a lot of their followers from getting into bad projects and getting wrecked. But audits are good. I like that Hex has 3 audits. That's pretty cool.
Oh, I agree. I think that's what I was really trying to get at, was that I'm pretty sure that the whole idea of audits came from Hex.
It definitely could be, because I don't know of any other cryptocurrencies that have gotten audits. I haven't really heard of that. But for Hex to deliberately get 3 audits, I'm like, that's pretty wild. That's
delay the launch.
Pretty honorable, actually. To show people that there is nothing wrong with it and it's safe to invest, that kind of thing. Not financial advice, but
not financial advice. Everything comes with risks. Yeah. Okay, so question for you. Everybody, for this last little while, everybody's been like, oh, we're in this bull market. We're going to be in this bull market, at least until the summer, probably until late in this year. The last couple of days, things have been pulling back. People are saying that we might be moving into a consolidation phase. And some people are even saying that this is the beginning of our next bear market. What do you think?
I don't see the bear market. But you never know. I'm not a price analyst. I don't really study the price, so I can't really speak well to that. But I really just invest based on my general feeling, which is like not probably not the best idea for many people, but it's done me well because I tend to buy the very bottom of like Bitcoin dips and everything like that since I got into crypto since 2018. But I feel like maybe we'll go sideways for a long time, but at least Hex I'm pretty bullish on.
Yeah, I'm pretty bullish.
I feel like we'll have more upside for sure.
Yeah, I mean, especially because it has been going sideways for a few months, right? Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely long-term, very, very bullish on Hex. Really, really enthusiastic about what the future holds for Hex, for several other crypto projects, and, for you, for me, for everyone watching right now.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think the Hex price will be next year?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't really I don't want to take, I don't want to make that kind of speculation, but I could see, I could definitely see it going significantly higher.
Oh, it's funny. Right before I got on stream with you, I was just listening to music, kind of jamming out like I do in the morning, but there was this ad on YouTube that was talking about such a great investment. It was it didn't talk about the investment, just kind of like building it up for a little bit. And then when it finally got to it, it was like, this is better than even professional investors make in 2 years, but you can make this in 2 weeks or something like that. And then it was like, not 400% return, not 600% return, but 800% return. And I just started laughing so hard because Hex had a 35,000% gain in 2020. And so that 800%, I was kind of dying. I was like, that's hilarious. But maybe that's pretty good for non-crypto investors. But just thought
I know. I had friends last year who were talking about their stock market gains because they bought Zoom or something, and I was like, pleb.
Yeah, but Yeah, the more we talk about those gains for Hex, we'll definitely get some adoption. Just imagine if we made YouTube ads just kind of like comparing everything. Maybe I'll try that sometime, but
yeah, I think that's great.
Definitely bullish for Hex. There's no way that I don't see a way that it's not going to take off.
You know what? One more question that I want to ask you, and then I guess we'll be like close to half an hour, and we could go like whatever. But one more. I have never watched a couple episodes of your Block Babes show, and I know that you're interested in Digibyte. I know that you're somewhat into Bitcoin, but I kind of was curious about what you're like. Where do you think you are on the like Bitcoin versus like altcoins? Do you think that you're like, yeah? Would you identify as a Bitcoiner or an altcoiner?
Can I be both?
Yeah, you can.
I'm not a Bitcoin hater. I like Bitcoin. Bitcoin brought me into cryptocurrency, and I have to remember that. And I try not to put Bitcoin down when I'm talking about Digibyte, but I do love Digibyte because I feel like it's what Bitcoin was meant to be, since it's 40 times faster, has 15-second blocks now, and the transaction fees are generally 1/10 of a penny. Even for a guy that did a $6 million transaction in Digibyte, his transaction fee was under a penny. So those are just a couple things, but for Digibyte to be completely decentralized, a grassroots community, and to not, even the founder not giving himself a percentage of the mining reward, but buying Digibyte just like everyone else, there's just multiple factors and use cases of Digibyte besides just being a currency that really intrigued me. And so the more I learned about it, I love it. Everything about it seems right and it feels right. And I'm like, yeah, this is what Bitcoin should have been, and how it's built for. It has a solid foundation. And I think there's a lot of good things that can be built on Digibyte. But yeah, I'm not a Bitcoin hater. But I do like what's good, what's going to be better, I guess. Just the cream of the crop, basically, in cryptocurrency.
It's cool. So I really don't know very much about Digibyte, but I am definitely going to look more into it after this conversation. So thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And thank you so much for coming on today. This was awesome. I'm really glad because we've never really had a chance to talk before.
Yeah, this was fun. This is cool. Yeah, let me know if you want to come on the Block Babes, and yeah, we can talk anytime. This was very fun. This is going to be a cool show. I'm happy to see this bridging crypto communities. This is awesome. This is what I'm all about.
Awesome. Well, I'll definitely have you back on sometime. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the first episode of Building Bridges. I'll see you next week. Bye.